now, since I have y'all to myself, you can't escape now. There's no breaks here.
We almost up against
I know
it.
it.
So.
It ain't going to take long either.
Okay.
It ain't going to take long. Do you recall the NFL's Minority Fellowship Coaching Program?
Yes, I do.
And what was that put in place for?
Try to put people in place for opportunities to get higher positions within the organization. You know, whether it's offense coordinator, defense coordinator, head coach, or what have you. Try to put minorities in those positions so they can learn, they can understand what the environment's like. People can know who they are, meet them, and then now when they make a decision, they won't have to deal with nobody that they're not familiar with. Yeah.
Okay. So
is that pretty much what it is?
That's close.
Okay.
That's close enough.
All right. Yeah. For this conversation.
For this conversation.
Sure.
The Indianapolis coach yesterday on the Jim Irsay decided to part ways with Frank Wright, their existing head coach or the former head coach now, and he decided to go with someone that was a consultant with the team, that played on the team for quite some time, and apparently a friend of the family, Jeff Saturday.
Yes.
As the interim head coach.
The interim head coach. Yeah.
Yes.
Interim is the opposite word.
That's correct.
For me.
Interim head coach.
Yes. Okay.
He wasn't in the fellowship program. He wasn't anywhere in the front office. He wasn't anywhere in the league. Had never coached in the NFL before. Had never been an assistant coach in the NFL before. Never been a coordinator. Never done anything other than a consultant on the payroll for the Indianapolis Colts.
Sure.
The only thing he's ever coached is a bunch of let me
high
do it
school
right.
players.
16-year-olds.
Yes. In Georgia.
In Georgia.
Yes.
That's right.
That's it.
Yep.
So he don't have to go through the fellowship program?
But
he don't need it? I guess clearly he don't need it.
He don't need it. I mean, it's really the decision of the NFL. But partly though, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe that's one of the loopholes in this process, because there are some teams who got fined because they didn't go through the process and had to give up some draft picks when there was an open coaching slot available, and they didn't go through the process. So that's not that problem. The interim, maybe that's a loophole. They didn't have to go through those checks and balances for the interim position, and maybe that's a problem. Now, how I view this, everything you said, I agree 110%. But how I viewed it as if Irsay and Pringle kind of remind me of it. He said the same thing. I don't see this as this is a permanent situation. I think he wanted somebody there close to the team as their head coach, and to report back to Irsay to help him make decisions on how to move the team forward after the season's over with. And the other part about it, Mac, this could be a good move for him because they could be tanking on the low. Because you got Jeff Saturday there, they can be losing game. Everybody's expecting them to lose games.
Yeah, because they already taken.
Right, and they'll be in position to get the Bryce Youngs or whoever the quarterback's going to be come out of college next year. So I think it's a combination of those things.
If you don't think that if you are true to what you say you are, Jim Irsay in the NFL and the leadership team, that this is not a perfect opportunity to reach out and say, hey, we have a chance, we have an opportunity here. It's an interim job. Everybody knows it's interim. We know it's in shambles. I have Jeff Saturday on as a consultant and others. He said, but here's a great opportunity for you to get some experience as a head coach, coming in, being that interim head coach, leading the organization. You don't think you should have at least reached out and tried to have that conversation? No, because you know why? Because they could care less. He could care less. I'm telling you, the NFL owners could care less about all of this. I'm telling you, it's all fake news. None of it. They could care less about hiring minority head coaches unless it just happens to fall in their lap. They could care less. I guarantee you.
I 100% agree with you. We're not debating that issue. This situation, I think, it's a little different, but it's not, because Irsay is still that guy. Now, if you're not at the table, you can't make those decisions. That's why with Dan Snyder's situation, it'd be nice for a minority owner to come in, a buyer to come and buy that team. Because if we're not at the table.
That's right.
So I got to buy a team for you to treat me right? Treat me fairly?
If we're not at the table amongst the other owners of the NFL teams, it's always going to be they're going to do what the hell they want to do.
Right, because it's the owner.
Right.
Okay, so if that's the case, then why we even having the conversation? Just let them do what they want to do then. And why are we even having the conversation?
Because maybe hoping some of them have a heart and listen and try to do the right thing.
Oh, I got to pray.
All of them not going to do the right thing. That's why we got to enforce these rules in place or penalize these guys when they don't do the right thing. The interim process is just a loophole that happens, and we
Probably
hadn't thought about it until now.
But I just think it's another. I'm sorry, man. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you good. I was just going to say, today is voting day, and if Reese was a write-in, you did good.
Thank
he
you.
didn't get you. We'll write Reese in on the ballot.
Oh, of course you're going to say that.
He was ready. Okay.
Of course you're going to
He
say
teed me up. I had to be ready.
that. I gave him an hour.